Facts still definitely save your life. One of the most terrifying and often one of the most dangerous scams out there involves someone who appears to be in distress. This involves people who use the "help me, I'm lost" or "help me, I need help" scam. In the process, they usually ask for assistance by asking for directions or helping down with their broken car. If you ever help these scammers, know that upon being distracted, their accomplice will literally follow you or prepare for an attack. Never ever engage with someone in need of assistance unless you're 100% sure it's safe. And not to mention as well, scammers aren't the only people who use this tactic. Abductors as well as serial killers like Ted Bundy have used this in the past. In fact, most of Ted Bundy's victims were actually abducted this way or in a very similar nature. Some of them in broad daylight. And most terrifyingly of all, he didn't need an accomplice, he did this all by himself. These types of crimes should serve as a reminder to always be careful about who you help, especially strangers. Always trust your intuition. If something feels off, walk away. Many kidnappings occur without any noise. Abductors can often very easily overpower you using substances like tranquilizers or sleep agents. Some attackers may approach you from behind, using sudden force to knock you out or injecting you with a sedative. This can happen in parking lots, elevators, or even crowded areas where nobody will notice. Always stay aware of your surroundings, especially in isolated or unfamiliar areas. If something feels off, leave immediately. If someone gets too close or acts suspiciously, always make sure your phone is accessible to call for help. And you might also want to consider carrying a self-defense tool like a pepper spray, or even take defense classes to be prepared. And finally, people can be watching you without your knowledge. Some predators have been known to place hidden cameras in public spaces or even in your own home in areas like your bedroom or your bathroom. Always be cautious of unfamiliar objects, mirrors, or vents that seem out of place. Even seemingly innocent items like smoke detectors or air purifiers could be used to spy on you. Stay safe. Facts still definitely save your life. People often ignore screams. Studies have shown that people frequently don't intervene during violent crimes. This is widely known to be the bystander effect, when other people dismiss, ignore, or even run away from a person's cries for help, believing that it's either only a domestic dispute or waiting for someone else to act. If you are ever in danger, do not just scream. Instead, yell more specific phrases like "fire" or "help, I don't know this person," or "call the police," or you could even go as well as identifying a specific person by their features and telling them to call the police. For example, "Hey, you in the blue shirt, call the police now." This makes it clear that you are in immediate danger and aren't just in an argument. Victims have been buried alive without realizing it. Some criminals render victims unconscious and bury them alive, assuming they'll just suffocate. There have been a disturbing amount of cases when victims woke up trapped underground. If you are ever buried alive or in this situation, you must always conserve oxygen as a main priority. And most importantly, you must stay calm. Assuming you have some sort of freedom for movement, such as space for your hands or feet to move around. If you do, try to use cloth to cover your face from dirt. Try to dig upwards in small and controlled movements. Killers often check hiding spots. During a home invasion or an attack, the first place a predator always looks for is your closet or under your bed. Predators are likely to check obvious hiding spaces. These are the first places they look. If you're ever in this situation and you must hide, pick an unconventional spot. This can include hiding behind large furniture, inside cabinets, or anywhere that provides concealment and cover. Know that you should hide in these places only to buy you time. Don't hide there for too long. Better yet, you should have a plan to escape other than hiding. Predators might be living in your walls. There have been a disturbing amount of documented cases of criminals secretly living in attics or crawl spaces, watching their victims for days or even weeks. They wait until you're asleep or gone to attack or steal. You want to make sure that you regularly check unused spaces in your home. And also consider installing locks on attics or crawl spaces. And always listen for unusual sounds, especially at night. Stay safe. Facts still definitely save your life. If you ever find yourself in a sinking car, you have less than a minute to escape before the car sinks completely. Once the water pressure builds, opening the door or escaping in general becomes nearly impossible. Do not try to open the door immediately. Instead, what you must do is use these precious seconds to roll down the windows or to break the windows with a center punch tool. You must swim out of the car as fast as you can before the car fills up completely. And you might also want to consider keeping a window breaking tool at all times within reach in your car before such cases happen. One of the most common tactics in abductions is for criminals to park a van next to the driver's side of the victim's car in a secluded area. They often wait for the victim to unlock their car. Upon opening the car, they immediately grab the victim mid-motion and drag them into the van. Always check your surroundings before approaching your vehicle, especially in isolated parking lots. If you ever find a suspicious van in your car, do not approach your car. Assess the situation in a safe location, and if your suspicions are correct, call the police immediately. Do not get close to your car. Also consider carrying a self-defense tool like a pepper spray, or at least keep your keys in your hand for easy access. And finally, some human traffickers leave a dog tied up or injured near a secluded path. When you approach to help, you're ambushed and subdued. Never ever approach animals in distress, especially in secluded areas. Call animal controls or law enforcement instead. Always stay alert in your surroundings, especially in safe areas like the park. And you might also want to consider carrying a whistle or an alarm with you at all times if you ever feel threatened, to draw attention. Stay safe. Facts don't definitely save your life. People have disappeared after responding to job interview ads. Some criminals, including human traffickers, place fake job ads to lure desperate job seekers into secluded areas where they're abducted or worse. If you ever see a job ad, you always must research the company, the background, everything before attending the interview. Bring people with you or share your location in real time. Entire families have disappeared while on vacation. Hotels or rental properties have been used by organized criminal groups to lure tourists into traps, targeting them for ransom or worse. No matter how desperate you are for a place, always research accommodations carefully and thoroughly. Consider sharing your travel plans with trusted loved ones and check in regularly. A loud knock, especially in odd hours like in the middle of the night, can be a distraction. In some coordinated home invasions involving at least 2 people, one person will create a distraction by knocking on the door, and the others will sneak by to the side or the back of the house. Always know that in this scenario, the second they get into your house, your chances of survival drop significantly. Do not open any door, especially the front door. Check all entry points and make sure you're all secure. Stay quiet and do not turn on any lights. Turn off every single light before they break in. If you want to protect your home and yourself to the best of your ability, consider keeping a secondary lock on all doors. Stay safe. Facts though definitely save your life. Random strangers have kidnapped people while they were jogging. A huge portion of people who are victims of assault, people who are victims of murder, and often people who vanish without a trace are joggers. Joggers in particular are more prone to these situations because their body's energy is often depleted or is in the process of depleting through the cardio. They're often much easier to attack and assault because they're often distracted, and their bodies are much harder to defend themselves because of their exhaustion. Some joggers are even more vulnerable because their jogging sessions are often recurring and consistent, making them very vulnerable for predators to stalk them. And in the most disturbing cases, joggers are often vulnerable in quiet wooden trail areas where nobody can hear them scream. Cases like these should forever serve as a reminder to avoid jogging alone, especially in secluded areas. If you do plan to jog in a secluded area, always make sure you jog with a partner or a group. You should try to make sure that you change your jogging times and schedule regularly to avoid stalking. And always try to carry a whistle, a pepper spray, or an alarm in cases where you do get assaulted in such scenarios. Someone could be living in your hotel room before you arrive. There have been a disturbing amount of cases of guests finding strangers in closets, behind closed shower curtains, or under their beds in their hotel rooms. It is an absolute must that you thoroughly check your hotel room upon arriving. These include closets, under beds, or behind curtains. And most importantly, use a chain lock at all times. And finally, a passerby could slash your Achilles tendon. Your Achilles tendon is a fibrous band of tissue and sinew that connects your muscles from your calf to your heels. Damaging this part of your body can not only be excruciating, but can literally be incapacitating, making you unable to move or walk. Criminals have incapacitated victims by slicing their Achilles tendon, rendering them unable to run and defend themselves. Remember to always stay aware of people walking behind you closely in isolated areas. If someone ever feels threatening, try to cross the street or enter a public space as fast as you can. Do not allow them to incapacitate you. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. A stranger could copy your house key. With just a quick photo, someone can replicate your key and gain access to your home without you realizing. Always be mindful of where you leave spare keys. You might want to consider upgrading to high security locks or even use keyless doors to add peace of mind. Missing persons cases often go cold within 48 hours. If someone ever vanishes, the initial window for recovery is frighteningly small. If someone ever goes missing, you must act as fast as you can. Time is of the essence. Immediately report it to the authorities and stay actively involved in the search. The sooner and faster you act, the higher the chances of recovering and locating them. And this should go without saying that if a person still hasn't been found within 24 hours, the chances of finding them alive drop significantly. Your phone could be secretly recording your every move and your every conversation, and you don't even realize it. Wherever you are, someone could be listening to your very private conversations through your phone. The phone's microphone can even be used while it's turned off, and these recordings could be transmitted to anyone, to anywhere in the world at any moment. You could be speaking to a criminal or an enemy without even knowing it. You want to make sure that you turn off all microphone permissions to every app that does not need it at all. You want to always make sure that you use encrypted messaging services for sensitive conversations. And never assume your device is secure unless you actively control it. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. If you ever wake up to find your bedroom door closed when you left it open, someone might already be in your house. This small detail is often overlooked, but can indicate that an intruder is trying to hide their presence. They may have moved through your home while you slept, altering any tiny details you wouldn't immediately notice. If you ever encounter this small detail, do not leave your room. What you must do is to barricade your room or lock your doors and call the police immediately. To maximize your safety as well as your survival, keep a self-defense item nearby and avoid making any noise that may indicate you're awake. If you ever see a car parked unusually close or next to yours in an empty parking lot, especially on the driver's side, it may be a trap. Criminals often use this tactic to trap victims in confined spaces, like when you're about to open your car door. This allows them to act quickly without drawing any attention. If you ever encounter this, do not approach your car in the driver's side. Enter the car from the passenger's side if you must. Or to maximize your safety, enter the building you came from and request for security to escort you to your car. If you ever find yourself locked and trapped in the trunk of a car, time is extremely critical to escape before you reach your destination. Trunks are designed to be airtight, and abduction victims rarely survive after being transported to a secondary location. In this situation, do everything you can to escape at all cost. Time is of the essence. Kick out the taillights and wave your arms through the opening to signal other drivers. If the car is modern, you may be able to feel for the emergency trunk release. But always remember, the moment you are taken to that secondary location, your chances of survival drop significantly. Stay safe. Here are some facts that will definitely save your life. You could be watched through your phone's camera at any moment with no way to know. There have been many cases of phones as late as iPhones recording people even though the green dot indicating it's recording was not turned on. These scenarios are not only not urban legends, although they're rare, they're very real. You want to make sure that you regularly check app permissions and revoke any access to your camera from apps that don't need it whatsoever. For maximum security, you could use opaque tape or any physical cover over your phone camera when it's not in use. If you ever wake up to find your phone missing from your nightstand and the last app that was used was a location sharing one, then someone has already gained access to your device, tracking you down and planning to come for you. Immediately disable location services and call for help. Be very swift to lock all the doors and windows of your house and do not leave your home until help arrives. If you ever see someone lurking near your vehicle, especially late at night, and they look like they're waiting for you to get in, do not approach your car. They could very well be preparing to force you into your car. The second you unlock your vehicle and open your door, they strike. Upon forcing you in, they will drive you to a secluded and isolated area where there's no escape. I repeat, do not approach your car. Head to a well-lit and populated area with other people around. Make sure to call the police immediately and report the suspicious behavior. Stay safe. Facts will definitely save your life. People have been abducted by someone sitting in the back seat of their own car. Criminals, in many disturbing cases, have broken into or have entered unlocked vehicles while the owner was distracted, waiting silently for them to return and drive off. Scenarios like these should forever serve as a reminder to always check the back seat and the trunk of your car before entering your vehicle, especially when you're in an isolated or secluded area, and especially when you're driving alone. Some people vanish and disappear without a trace after attending small and casual gatherings. Predators and stalkers have targeted victims at intimate events, isolating them after gaining their trust in a seemingly safe environment. The ultimate advice here is to always let someone you trust know where you're going or who you'll be with, and always trust your instincts if a situation feels wrong. A wrong turn can lead to a carefully staged ambush. Some criminals and predators deliberately alter street signs or GPS routes to lead drivers into isolated and dangerous areas. If you ever fall into these traps, know that escaping is often nearly impossible as you're often ambushed and subdued. Remember to always stick to familiar routes whenever possible, and to always double-check navigation instructions when they seem unusual. Stay safe. Here's some life advices that will definitely save your life. If you are ever swimming in open water and you feel a sudden tug downward, it could be a whirlpool or a powerful undertow. These natural phenomena are silent killers, capable of dragging down even the strongest swimmers. Do not fight against the pull, as fighting directly against the pull will exhaust you within seconds. Instead, what you must do is swim parallel to the current until you break free. Then you must continue swimming diagonally towards the shore. I repeat, never fight the current directly. If someone ever knocks on your hotel room door claiming to be staff, but you didn't request for any assistance, be extremely wary of this because in many cases, this is a trap. They could be attempting to harm or rob you. Criminals frequently pose as hotel employees to gain access to hotel guest rooms. Once you let these people in, they can act very quickly and can escape without raising any suspicion. Do not let them into your hotel room. In fact, don't even open the door. What you must do is to immediately call the front desk to verify if staff was sent to your room. Never ever open the door for anyone unless their identity is confirmed. If you ever wake up to the sound of your car alarm in the middle of the night, do not leave your house. Do not immediately go to investigate. In many disturbing cases, car alarms have been intentionally triggered by criminals to lure you out of the safety of your home for an ambush. Whatever you do, do not leave your home. Instead, what you must do is look from a window or call the police if you ever see anything suspicious. I repeat, never ever step outside to investigate a triggered alarm. Stay safe. Here's some facts that'll definitely save your life. Carbon monoxide can kill you in your sleep because it's odorless, it's tasteless, and it's colorless. Criminals have intentionally exposed victims to carbon monoxide in enclosed spaces such as vehicles or homes. In rare but very terrifying cases, terrorists and criminal groups have considered using carbon monoxide poisoning in enclosed spaces like basements, bunkers, or even ventilation systems in buildings. Carbon monoxide is considered a silent killer because its symptom onset is so vague that it is almost always mistaken for other illnesses such as food poisoning, flu, or simply other illnesses. Symptoms like headaches or dizziness are often mistaken for minor illnesses before it's too late. This is why it is so important to install a carbon monoxide detector and especially apply them near bedrooms or gas appliances. Always stay aware of symptoms. Headaches, confusion, dizziness, and nausea are early signs of carbon monoxide poisoning. If this happens in your home, leave immediately and get fresh air. I repeat, install CO detectors in your home and check them regularly to make sure they're functional. If you're ever in a public place and you suddenly feel like you're being followed, do not go straight home. Never go straight home. Criminals, especially serial offenders with malicious intent, tend to follow and stalk people without them realizing. They often observe their movements, learn their pattern, and then strike when the victim is at their most vulnerable, usually when it's close to or at their home when they assume nobody is watching. If you're ever being followed, it is extremely likely that the attacker wants to know where you live, so they can strike when you're at your most vulnerable and when you're at your most isolated. If you go straight home, you're essentially leading them to your doorstep, making you an immediate easy target. This should also go without saying that if you especially live alone and they're trying to follow you home, that should be an indicator that they've already been stalking you prior. Do not go home. What you must do instead is immediately head to a well-lit and populated area like a shopping mall or a street, or better yet, a police station. Call someone and let them know where you are, or better yet, call the police for assistance. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. If you are ever in the ER, do not lie to the medical staff. They are not law enforcement and their job is to save lives, not to investigate crimes. By law, they cannot reveal or share any information with the police without the patient's consent or a court order. And even if that's the case, the hospital's legal team will still fight to ensure the protection of the patient's privacy. If you, as a patient, ever decide to withhold any information or tell lies about your injury, your substance use, or your circumstances of an injury, you put yourself at serious risk. If anything, you put your life at serious risk. The ER staff need to know exactly what they're dealing with to provide the correct treatment. I cannot stress enough how urgent and serious this is. The truth can be the difference between survival and tragedy. Always trust the medical professionals with your information. They are there to help, not judge. If you ever get stabbed or impaled, leave the foreign object alone. Do not try to pull it out, even though it's horrifying and may feel unbearable. The object is likely preventing more damage. like controlling the bleeding or protecting the internal organs from further harm. Removing it on your own could make the injury worse or cause life-threatening complications like severe bleeding. Your survival chances are much higher if you don't remove the object yourself. Medical professionals are trained to handle this kind of injury in a controlled environment where they can manage bleeding and other complications. They'll remove it carefully once you're stabilized. An extremely important thing to note as well, if you do panic and end up pulling the object out and then you remember this advice, do not try to put the object back in. Reintroducing a foreign object into a wound can even cause more damage and complicate the treatment. You must keep the pressure on the wound to control the bleeding. Stay as calm as possible and get to medical help immediately. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. If someone in plain clothes claims to be a cop and asks you to follow them, demand an ID immediately and call dispatch. Real officers expect and even encourage these requests, while impersonators will often back off. Never ever let someone claiming to be authority force you into isolation without proof. This one is specifically for dog owners. If you ever hear your dog suddenly barking in a strange pattern, do not ignore it. Dogs often, if not almost always, sense intruders or dangers well before you do. If this ever happens to you, you should always be deeply on high guard. Always check your surroundings cautiously and always stay alert for anything unusual. If you ever hear tapping on your window late at night and you live above the ground floor, call the police immediately. No one should be able to reach your window. This could indicate that someone is using a ladder, or worse, they could already be inside. If you ever find abandoned bags, packages, or objects in a public space, do not touch them. This is especially true if they look way too good to be abandoned. For example, a Louis Vuitton, Versace, or Gucci bag, or anything that looks expensive. Chances are they could be bombs or traps. Alert the authorities immediately. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. Your tongue can suffocate you after a fall. If you are ever unconscious and happen to be lying on your back, your tongue can block your airway, causing suffocation. If somebody is ever unconscious, immediately roll them into the recovery position. This is how you do it. You roll them to their side with their head slightly tilted back to keep the airway open. If you ever hear sudden pop noises inside a building, it means that a building collapse is imminent. Creaking or popping sounds inside a building can indicate structural failure moments before a collapse. I repeat, if you ever hear popping or creaking noises inside a building, leave immediately. This is even true if you're outside a building that is old or a construction site. And this is especially true if your area is prone to earthquakes or landslides. Your ring can rip your finger off. Ring avulsions happen when the ring catches on something during a fall or accident, ripping the skin, tendon, or even the entire finger off. To prevent something like this from ever happening, you want to make sure that you take your entire ring off before performing something physical, like climbing, running, or using machinery. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. If you ever hear screaming in the woods, do not investigate. This is especially true if you're camping or hiking and you hear what sounds to be a person screaming from the distance. Here are two possibilities. One, it could be an animal. Predators like mountain lions and foxes can make sounds that are eerily similar to human screams. Investigating could put you face to face with a very dangerous animal. And number two, and more disturbingly, this could be a trap set by criminals. If you're 100% sure that the screaming is human, especially if there's words like "help me," "somebody help me," do not investigate alone. Criminals with very bad intentions do this to lure unsuspecting victims into approaching the sound. Once they approach the sound, they strike, leaving you with little to no escape. Remember to always stay in a group, carry protection, and do not wander alone in the wilderness. Always trust your instincts and prioritize your safety. If you ever see a suspicious package, parcel, or bag left with you in your doorstep and you didn't order anything in advance, do not touch it. Close and lock your doors, distance yourself and anyone from the package, and call the police immediately. Terrorist groups and criminals sometimes use parcels, packages, or bags to plant in explosives or other devices. You may be handed a seemingly innocuous package, told to hold it for someone, or it may be left with a bag in an unusual location. These objects could contain explosives, chemicals, or harmful devices that could go off within minutes or even seconds. If you ignore the warning signs and don't take immediate action, you could end up with a deadly explosion, killing or injuring yourself and others nearby. I repeat, do not touch it, distance yourself away from it as much as you can and others as well, and call the police immediately. Leave the item where it is and evacuate the area if you can do so safely. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. You can get killed if you stay in your car long enough. Dying inside a locked vehicle is eerily very possible. Temperatures inside a locked car can rise rapidly, leading to deaths in just minutes, even on a mild day. You want to make sure that you never leave children, pets, or any vulnerable individuals inside a car, even for a quick moment. And you want to always make sure that you check your back seat before locking your car. No matter who you are, how old, what gender or sex, or what ethnicity, you can die from a brain aneurysm anytime. And I really mean anytime. No matter how much you exercise or no matter how healthy you are, you can still die from a brain aneurysm. Nobody is an exception to this. Brain aneurysms are considered silent killers because they often show no symptoms until the brain ruptures, leading to instant sudden death. You want to always make sure that you stay aware of instant and immediate symptoms like sudden severe headaches, vision changes, or neck stiffness. If you ever experience these symptoms, especially very suddenly, seek medical help immediately. If you ever parked in your car, especially late at night, and you suddenly hear tapping on the back of your car, do not leave your vehicle! Lock all the doors and windows of your car immediately. Criminals often target drivers, especially ones that are alone, that are parked in their vehicle, especially at night, and tap on their car from behind, waiting for you to get out and check the damage. The literal second you get out of your vehicle, they abduct you or rob you. If this ever happens, especially in an isolated area, do not leave your car immediately. You must very quickly, very immediately, and very instantly lock all the doors and windows of your car and drive to a well-lit and populated area, or even any crowded area, or even call the police on your way. This should also serve as a reminder to always lock your doors, especially when you're alone, parked in a vehicle. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. You can get killed if you stay in your car long enough. Dying inside a locked vehicle is eerily very possible. Temperatures inside a locked car can rise rapidly, leading to deaths in just minutes, even on a mild day. You want to make sure that you never leave children, pets, or any vulnerable individuals inside a car, even for a quick moment. And you want to always make sure that you check your back seat before locking your car. No matter who you are, how old, what gender or sex, or what ethnicity, you can die from a brain aneurysm anytime. And I really mean anytime. No matter how much you exercise or no matter how healthy you are, you can still die from a brain aneurysm. Nobody is an exception to this. Brain aneurysms are considered silent killers because they often show no symptoms until the brain ruptures, leading to instant sudden death. You want to always make sure that you stay aware of instant and immediate symptoms like sudden severe headaches, vision changes, or neck stiffness. If you ever experience these symptoms, especially very suddenly, seek medical help immediately. If you ever parked in your car, especially late at night, and you suddenly hear tapping on the back of your car, do not leave your vehicle! Lock all the doors and windows of your car immediately. Criminals often target drivers, especially ones that are alone, that are parked in their vehicle, especially at night, and tap on their car from behind, waiting for you to get out and check the damage. The literal second you get out of your vehicle, they abduct you or rob you. If this ever happens, especially in an isolated area, do not leave your car immediately. You must very quickly, very immediately, and very instantly lock all the doors and windows of your car and drive to a well-lit and populated area, or even any crowded area, or even call the police on your way. This should also serve as a reminder to always lock your doors, especially when you're alone, parked in a vehicle. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. Dying from dehydration is faster than you think. In hot weathers or during physical exertion, dehydration can kill within a matter of hours by causing organ failure. This is why it is so important to stay hydrated and to never overexert yourself, especially in extreme heat. And also very importantly as well, learn to recognize the early symptoms of dehydration. These include dizziness, confusion, and dark urine. If you're ever on an elevator and it suddenly starts to malfunction, do not try to exit the elevator. Press the emergency button immediately. In the past, people have been crushed or trapped while trying to exit malfunctioning elevators, causing death. I repeat, if an elevator ever malfunctions, stay inside. Do not try to leave the elevator. Use the emergency button to call for help or wait for a trained personnel. And finally, fire kills through smoke, not flames. The vast majority of fire-related deaths are actually caused by smoke inhalations, not by the burn itself. Inhaling smoke can incapacitate you in less than a minute. Always remember, in an event of a fire, try your absolute best to crouch as low as you can and avoid smokes while trying to escape. And this should also go without saying as well, even before an event of a fire, always know at least 2 ways out of the building. Or if anything, know as many safe ways out of the building as you can. Stay safe. Here's some facts that'll definitely save your life. One of the most common places for ambushes are staircases. Staircases are often very common for attacks because they're isolated and have poor visibility. And not to mention, because of their very nature, you're more likely to be killed or injured there. This is why you must avoid taking staircases alone if possible. And if you absolutely have to, you must carry a personal alarm, move very quickly, and stay alert. Even the tiniest bit of water, when mixed with electricity, can kill you. This should very well be common sense at this point. Water and electrical outlets are fatal combinations. Unfortunately, however, many are not aware that spilled liquid can instantly electrify surfaces. You want to make sure that you never use plugged-in appliances near water. You want to unplug devices before cleaning them. And you also especially want to dry your hands before cleaning electrical outlets. You can choke on your own tongue during sleep. People who are unconscious, especially those who have just fainted or have just experienced heavy drinking, can choke on their own tongue. This is why it is so important that if you ever witness an unconscious person, you immediately have to roll them to their side and to the recovery position. This prevents the tongue from blocking the airway. Stay safe. Here's some facts that'll definitely save your life. There indeed is a hidden killer in fresh produce, such as vegetables and fruits. Unwashed fruits and vegetables can harbor harmful bacteria like E. coli or listeria. This is why it is absolutely recommended that you wash your fresh produce that you just bought thoroughly. And yes, even if this means it's labeled as pre-washed. Your coffee mug could be toxic. Some older ceramic mugs contain lead-based paint, which can leach into your drinks over time, and this is especially true the older they get. You must avoid using old or chipped mugs. And you may want to consider using lead-free certified dishware instead. And finally, let me elaborate on the danger of social media posts. Posting real-time updates of your vacation or location can alert burglars that you're not at home. This knowledge should absolutely be common sense at this point. This should also go without saying that a significant portion of house burglaries occur when the residents aren't at home and are on vacation. This is why it is absolutely necessary that you avoid sharing your locations and travel plans publicly until after you return. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. The deadly double dip scenario is not a myth. Sometimes sharing food or double dipping can spread bacteria like staphylococcus. This is a bacteria that can cause severe food poisoning and can be life-threatening if left untreated. This is why it is so important to avoid double dipping at social gatherings, and you should try to wash shared utensils often. You can actually drown to death without being in a full body of water through the insidious dry drowning. If you're not careful after swimming, water can remain in your lungs, leading to dry drowning hours later. Symptoms can include coughing, chest pain, or fatigue. If you ever experience difficulty breathing after swimming, seek medical help immediately. And finally, staircase slips and deaths are more common than you think. There are over 1 million cases of people injuring themselves on staircases every year, with a significant number of them resulting in death. This is why you should always consider holding the handrail when going down and do not rush on the stairs. And most importantly, this is especially true if you're carrying items or wearing slippery footwear. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. Sleep paralysis could mean someone is in your room. During sleep paralysis, your body is fully paralyzed, but your brain is fully awake. This means that some hallucinations during this state might actually be real. This includes someone breaking into your house. This is why it is so important that you always lock your doors and windows before you sleep. And you might also want to consider installing security cameras or alarms, and always keep a charged phone by your bed. Your brain won't warn you if you're drowning. Always remember that drowning is silent. People don't flail or scream like they do in movies. They simply slip under the water. And quite often, it literally happens next to people who won't even notice. Never swim alone. Always watch children and inexperienced swimmers vigilantly. If you ever notice someone is upright and is struggling to stay afloat, but isn't calling for help, act immediately. A small cut can kill you. Necrotizing fasciitis, also known as the flesh-eating bacteria, can enter through your body through small cuts, even paper cuts. This bacteria spreads rapidly, often leading to amputation or death. Always clean your wounds, no matter how small they are, with soap and water. Cover them with sterile bandages. If you ever notice excessive redness, swelling, or pain, seek help immediately. Stay safe.